the stuff that you use for like when you have electrical parts and you want like have a wire or whatever, and you want to like fix it to the next part, then you use solder to you heat it up and then you have it like fixed. You know what I mean? Like you have this for example, when you have to repair a computer or whatever, then you have parts like little wire parts that have to be fixed to a spot or whatever. So you use that solder wire, like this little like you have a wire and you have a heating part, solder wires together. Use it a lot in chips and circuit boards. Yeah, exactly. Also with cables too. Yes, exactly. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how you call that. I would have called it a wire, just to, good to know. Learning English is a video game. So hopefully, yes, löten, exactly. In German, that's called Lötzinn, is the solder. We talked. I got a chance to show what I'm made of during that attack on Midgard. Oh yeah, we talked to the guy. Yeah, I used to be really good with soldering. It's really tedious. Yeah, but it's super fun. I think. Like I learned it in school back then. You know, when in the 19th century we still learned soldering and stuff like this in school. No, I actually did learn it in school. And it was super fun. It's just that I don't know, like you don't really have to do that a lot. And I tried to repair my guitar last time. And yeah, same for you. Like, yeah, I learned it in school. Actually, in school, we had a class where we built a robot that would. So you would draw a black line on the paper or whatever, and the small robot would follow that line, and you could like just make it drive around. Takes a lot of patience, concentration, and a steady hand. Yes, and it's definitely gonna burn your fingers a couple of times. We never did cool stuff like that. Oh, that's sad. Like we had So I had to. So story time. We had when I just switched to high school. No, when I just switched to middle school. So because the system is a little different in Germany, I never learned it in school, only in uni. Okay, cool. So when I went to middle school for the first time, I had to go to the middle school, which was in the city that I lived in. Always waiting for the next rant. I'm gonna rant! Like in Family Guy. You know what really grinds my gears? Anyway. So I went to the school that was just in the city where I grew up in. And which it's just how it is. Like you go to, so we have this different kinds of schools in Germany, right? Like we have a gradually decline in how good your grades in elementary school were, which is a horrible system. It's a horrible system because it directly separates the 10-year-old children, 10 to 11-year-old children on 4 schools. You have the ones that have very good grades that go to what is called Gymnasium, and you have the ones that didn't have as good grades who go to a Hauptschule, which is basically just the main school is the name. It's a main school. Yeah, you kind of like separate, and then you have 2 schools in between, which they both give you the opportunity to go to high school. But the main school thing, it doesn't give you the opportunity to go to high school. So you will never be able to go to high school if you don't get the opportunity to somehow, by whatever, like out of the order system, you get to the opportunity to switch to a higher school. Horrible system. It's unbelievable that we have a archaic system like this. But anyway, that's how it is. So I was lucky. I had pretty good grades in elementary school, so I went to this what is called gymnasium kind of school. Yeah, it's incredible. It's unbelievable. Like you basically you train the children to already have to understand that there are intelligent and not intelligent children, and that you are either something better or something worse, which is unbelievable. It's discrimination learned via school system. Anyway, somehow the government thinks that this is a good idea because that way, um, the slower kids don't slow down the faster kids, and the faster kids don't lead to the fact that the slower kids won't learn anything because everything just like rushes them by them or whatever. Yeah, it's fucked. So I'm going to the okay, like to the good school, which was lucky for me, but at the same time, because in my city there was no other school of this system that had that led to rivalry over whatever. So basically, the teachers there didn't need to be good teachers. They didn't need to have a good school. They just needed to be there because everyone from my city would go to that school. Long story short, I was a difficult kid. Although I had good grades, I was still kind of like a little rowdy, I would say. So I just did bullshit, you know. Like I was a kid. Like I was a kid in a small city. I would want to like test out where the rules are and so on and so forth. Anyway, it led to me just like getting thrown out of that school because I just was always doing bad stuff. So I ended up in like a rebel a little. But I mean, I was up to 12 years old, right? At 12 years old, you shouldn't have people that like they should just put you in a system, or they put you in a school that tells you how to act and behave, and not like, oh, you're a bad child, so whatever, I don't care, I'm just gonna make your life hard. Which led to the point where, at one point, for example, one of my teachers just called my parents at home and was like, your child is going to be a criminal when it's an adult. Anyway, thank God my parents had a lot of trust in me, and they just took me out of that school, put me in a different school in a different city, which was the best decision ever made, because I really loved that school all of a sudden, because the teachers were really cool, because the city was bigger. There were other schools of that niveau, so they would have rivalries with each other. Yeah, complete shit teacher. Like he was such an asshole. He actually got thrown out of school a couple of years later because he touched a student girl, like an underage girl. And so, but in the first school that I was, and that's now the whole reason why I tell this little story, I actually learned sewing, knitting. Like we had homeschool. We had like, not homeschool. We had this home chores class, which was really cool, because now I know how to knit or how to sew stuff. But there you can see like how backwards this whole school was. That we had, this was not part of the educational system that that the government made. They just still had that teacher, and they needed her to do something, so they had this home chores class where we learned this stuff. Unbelievable. But anyway, then later in the other school, I actually had this soldering class and stuff like that. That was really cool. It was physics and techniques was the class called. All right.